For 60 years it sat in a museum drawer, a shoebox-sized lump of green, corroded bronze. Just another piece of shipwreck junk, catalogued and forgotten. Then someone put it under an X-ray and found 30 interlocking gears, machined teeth, a dial. It was a computer. It was 2,000 years old, and it worked. And nothing like it would exist again for 1,400 years. Not in Rome, not in Baghdad, not until the astronomical clocks of medieval Europe. A single hand-cranked box of Greek bronze that modeled the entire known cosmos, the sun, the moon, the planets, the eclipses, built, used, and then completely lost to history. We are still trying to understand how that is even possible. The historian who first cracked it, Derek de Sola Price, put it plainly. Finding this device, he said, was like finding a jet plane in the tomb of Tutankhamun. It should not be there. It is centuries ahead of everything around it. And two questions still have no clean answer. Who made it, and what is still sealed inside? To understand why it shouldn't exist, rewind 2,000 years of silence to a storm in the autumn of 1900. A crew of Greek sponge divers from the island of Symi, sailing home from the coast of Africa, take shelter in the lee of a barren rock called Antikythera. While they wait out the weather, they dive, and on the seabed, one of them panics. The diver, Elias Stadiatis, surfaces babbling about a heap of dead, naked people rotting on the sea floor. His captain, Dimitrios Kontos, thinks the pressure has scrambled his mind. Then Stadiatis holds up what he carried back, a single corroded bronze arm. Not corpses, statues. They had stumbled onto a Roman-era shipwreck, and it was crammed with treasure. What followed was one of the first great underwater excavations, backed by the Greek navy. In heavy suits and copper helmets, the divers hauled up marvels, bronze and marble statues, glassware, jewelry, coins. Luxury cargo from a ship that went down sometime around 60 BC, probably bound for Rome, its hold heavy with plundered Greek art. The dive was brutal. One diver drowned. 2 were crippled by the depths. But the haul was staggering. The bronze Antikythera youth, a bearded philosopher's head, a marble Hercules. The finds went to the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, where scholars marveled at the sculpture. And almost nobody looked twice at the ugly lump of bronze in the corner. The lump was calcified, split, unremarkable. A fused mass of green metal and rotted wood the size of a thick book. For 8 months it dried out in storage, and as it dried, it cracked apart. On the 17th of May, 1902, an archaeologist named Valerios Stais peered at one broken face and saw a gear wheel. A precision gear, inside a 2,000-year-old lump, with Greek inscriptions running across its face. It made no sense. Gears like this belonged to clockwork, to the machine age, not to the world of Julius Caesar. So for decades, respectable scholars quietly set it aside. Some whispered it was a fluke, a later object that had somehow fallen into an ancient wreck. Because the alternative was unthinkable. If the ancient Greeks had truly built this, then the tidy story of technology, a slow climb from simple to complex, was broken. A jet plane really was sitting in the pharaoh's tomb. And so the mechanism sat in Athens, quietly refusing to be explained for another 50 years. Then, in the 1950s, a British-American historian named Derek de Sola Price became obsessed with it. He couldn't open the fragments without destroying them. So in the early 1970s, working with the physicist Charalampos Karakalos, he tried something new. He fired gamma rays straight through the bronze and counted the hidden gear teeth in the shadows they cast. What the rays revealed stunned him. The teeth were tiny, cut by hand, 20 on some wheels, more than 200 on others, and they meshed with real precision. Price traced the ratios and realized the machine was doing arithmetic with its gears, dividing, multiplying, converting one cycle of the heavens into another. Turn a single crank, and a cascade of wheels would translate days into months, months into eclipses, eclipses into decades. This was mechanical computation in the 2nd century BC, 1,000 years before anyone thought it was possible. In 1974, he published Gears from the Greeks. His verdict: this was a calendar computer, driving some 30 gears off a single input, tracking the sun and the moon across the Greek sky. It was a bombshell, and yet much of the machine stayed dark. The inner gears, the buried text, the true purpose all remained locked in corrosion. The real breakthrough came in 2005. A new team, mathematician Tony Freeth, astronomer Mike Edmonds, and Greek and British researchers, shipped an 8-ton microfocus X-ray CT scanner to Athens. Built to hunt cracks inside jet turbine blades, the machine was pointed instead at 82 crumbling fragments of ancient Greek bronze. The scanner saw straight through the rock. Layer by layer, it rebuilt the gears in 3 dimensions. And it read, writing no human eye had seen in 2,000 years. Thousands of tiny Greek characters hidden inside the corrosion, a user's manual engraved onto the device itself. Some letters no larger than a grain of salt. More than 2,000 of them were decoded, describing the motions of the sun, the moon, and the planets. And what those words described was breathtaking. On the front face, a great dial ringed by the 12 signs of the zodiac and the Egyptian calendar. A pointer tracked the sun through the year, another followed the moon. You turned a hand crank on the side, and the heavens turned with it, forward or backward to any date you chose, deep into the past or far into the future. A little half-silvered ball turned to show the phase of the moon. But the Greeks knew the moon does not move evenly. It races and slows across the sky. So the builder added a stroke of pure genius. 2 gears mounted off-center, one with a pin riding in a slot, speeding the pointer up and slowing it down to mimic the moon's real, uneven motion. Now flip it over. The back is dominated by 2 enormous spiral dials. The upper spiral is a 19-year calendar, the Metonic cycle, the span in which the phases of the moon fall back into step with the solar year. A tiny pointer followed the spiral groove around and around, month by month, across 235 lunar months. The lower spiral was darker in purpose. It was an eclipse predictor, the Saros cycle, 223 months long. Glyphs marked out the months when a solar or lunar eclipse could strike, spiraling across more than 18 years of the future. The machine did not merely track time. It told you, in advance, when the sky itself would go dark. And it was right often enough that a Greek astronomer could trust it. And it went further still. The inscriptions gave the predicted hour of each eclipse, and even a color and a wind, a number, a letter, a note on whether the eclipsed moon might glow blood red. 2,000 years ago, a Greek could turn a crank and read off the date of an eclipse decades away, on a machine, by hand. Then there is the strangest dial of all, a small subsidiary circle, divided into 4 years, and it has nothing to do with astronomy. It counted the cycle of the Pan-Hellenic Games, Olympia, Delphi, Nemea, the Isthmian Games. The Cosmos machine also kept the schedule of the Olympics, science and society geared together into the same bronze. There was even a star calendar, a parapegma, engraved across the front doors, marking the risings and settings of stars and constellations through the year. The whole cover of the device was a page of astronomy. Nothing on it was decorative. Every surface, inside and out, carried information. It was, quite literally, a book you turned into a machine. In 2021, The UCL team went further again, reconstructing the shattered front as a full model of the cosmos. Nested rings carrying all 5 planets the Greeks knew: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, each with its own looping motion. If they are right, this single box held the entire universe as the ancient world understood it. Picture it new, not green and broken, but gleaming golden bronze in a wooden case with hinged doors, dials front and back, inscriptions crisp and bright. You turn the crank, gears whir, and the sun, moon, and planets wheel across the heavens in the palm of your hand. This is the object the Greeks actually built. And then civilization forgot how. Somewhere, a workshop made this. Craftsmen who could cut bronze teeth to a fraction of a millimeter, who could translate the mathematics of the sky into meshing metal. That knowledge, the gear train, the epicyclic model, the whole discipline, existed. Real hands built it, and then, almost without a trace, it disappeared from the world. Because here is the part that should chill you. After this, nothing. No comparable geared mechanism survives, or is even described, for the next 1400 years. Not until the great astronomical clocks of medieval Europe in the 1300s does humanity again build a machine this intricate. 14 centuries of silence, spanning the fall of Rome and the whole of the Dark Ages. An entire technology, born, perfected, and then simply erased from the human record. How does that even happen? How do you invent the gear train, the mechanical model of the sky, the idea of computation itself, and then lose all of it, so completely that we only know it existed because one example fell into the sea? That is the true mystery of the Antikythera mechanism, not how it worked, how it vanished. And it was not unique. The Roman writer Cicero, alive when that ship went down, describes a bronze device built by Archimedes of Syracuse, a sphere that showed the sun, moon, and planets moving just as they do in the real sky. Cicero mentions another, made by Posidonius on Rhodes. These machines were real. A whole tradition once existed. So the Antikythera mechanism was not a miracle. It was the sole survivor of a lost school of Greek precision engineering. Workshops that could encode the heavens in metal. Everything else from that tradition has rusted away to nothing, or been melted down for scrap. This one piece endured only because the sea swallowed it whole and hid it on the seabed for 2,000 years, safe from the furnace and the looter. We hold it today by pure accident, which leaves the oldest question of all. Who built this one? Nobody knows. The inscriptions name no maker. The best clues point 2 ways. The calendar months are Corinthian, hinting at a Corinthian colony like Syracuse, the city of Archimedes, while the lunar astronomy echoes Hipparchus of Rhodes. Rhodes, or Syracuse, a named genius, or a workshop lost to history. Every candidate is a hypothesis, and not one inscription confirms a maker. It stays open. And the machine is not done speaking. Of the 82 fragments, the smallest have barely been studied. Corrosion still hides inscriptions the scans could not fully resolve. The front planetary gearing is almost entirely gone, reconstructed from mathematics and inference, not from surviving metal. Whole sections of the design are still educated guesses. Every new scan, every sharper imaging technique pulls a few more ancient characters out of the rust. Words written by a hand that has been dust for 2 millennia, still waiting inside a lump of bronze in a climate-controlled case in Athens. We have not read all of it. We may never read all of it. So it sits there, green, silent, 1/3 of a machine that should not exist. It predicted eclipses before the birth of Christ. It modeled a universe by hand. And it still holds, locked in its corroded fragments, the two things we most want and can't have: the name of its maker, and the answer to how a civilization can build the future and then lose it.